Good day, and thank you for joining me for a quick conversation on IRA to Roth conversions. Are they really necessary? My name is Alan Haft. I make frequent appearances in national media such as print, television such as CNBC and Fox. I'm the author of 3 books, including the current bestseller, You Can Never Be Too Rich, and I'm also one of the personal financial columnists for the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. Before I begin, a couple quick things. Illustrations I use today, for example, only and are not guaranteed. Do not make an investment into any product or strategy without first knowing all the details, facts, and reading a prospectus and or contract. And lastly, I do not offer any legal or tax advice. Okay, let's begin. You're probably aware the tax laws changed in 2010 regarding IRA to Roth conversions, and it's probably caused you to consider whether or not you should do it. Here are a couple factors you should consider. The length of time before your money is needed, your current and your anticipated future tax situation, taxes that would be owed if you did convert. Are you planning to pay them from an IRA or from another source? Your future tax beliefs, will they go up or down? And especially, why are you thinking about converting? The 2 most common answers I get to this question are as follows. I want to leave more money to my heirs, or I want to pay less tax and get the most amount of income at retirement. Because this is the most common answer I get to this question, I do want to spend a few minutes addressing this. The traditional method of retirement income planning, otherwise known as the way that most people do it, can be best expressed by way of an example. Here's a particular person who's in his early 60s. He's a few years away from retirement, and at retirement, he wants to get the most amount of income with the least amount of risk. His assets are as follows. He has money in his 401k, he's maximizing his contributions to that 401k, and he has other assets outside of it. Now, if you're looking at this and saying, this isn't exactly me, I do want you to know that I firmly believe the concepts I'm about to talk to still apply to you, whether you're a long way from retirement, in retirement, or close to it. Let's move on. So, assuming this particular person in his last few years up until retirement achieved a 7% rate of return less the average fees of 1.5%, he will probably look at his retirement accounts at the day he retires and say, how much income can I pull out of this? This is efficiently addressed by addressing something called the withdrawal rate, which strives to answer a very common question. What is the most amount of inflation-adjusted income one can expect to receive that will give them the best chances of not outliving their money and preserving their principal? There's a lot of truly fantastic resources that will answer this. Today I'm going to use Ibbotson, which has a user-friendly chart which clearly shows the highest chances of success will best be achieved by taking out no more than 4% of your account on any given year. If we turn back to this particular person's situation, by way of the withdrawal rate, this particular person can expect to receive $31,000 taxable after tax of $21,000 net. When I explain this to people and I show them the result of their efforts, the question I commonly hear next is, what can I do to get myself more income? You could contribute more money in your working years, or you can extend your working life, work more years, or lastly, you can do a combination of both. Some people think maybe the markets can help me, but that's not something in our control. These things are. Are these things possible? Are they desirable? I want to turn your attention away from the traditional method and talk about something called the alternative method. It's commonly used, but a lot of people haven't heard of it. Using the same assets and conservative rates of return, the alternative method produces significantly more income over the traditional method due to no possibility of market losses, yet having the possibility of conservative market rate returns. This allows one to take all their earnings. When following a traditional method, portions of earnings always need to be retained in order to cushion against possible market losses. Next, the alternative method often incorporates a tax-free income component. This allows one to take the after-tax amount of income so one can preserve more principal for future use. Next, the alternative method usually strives to minimize fees. This provides more income instead of portions going to financial institutions and brokers. And lastly, the alternative method often incorporates a structured income approach. Distributions are separated into several distinct phases. Now, I already talked to you about the traditional method of planning, the withdrawal rate of 4%. I want to turn your attention to the alternative method, and keep in mind the alternative method is going to use the same amount of money, the same returns, and produce a higher income for this particular person at no market risk. You'll notice a couple key differences. First and foremost, the contributions that in the traditional method were being made into a 401k are now being redirected into a tax-free account that you'll note is highlighted in blue, because these accounts will give the person the opportunity for market rate gains, but not at the possibility of market losses. So, assuming these returns at retirement, this particular person's accounts will appear as follows. And now it's time to pull income out of their accounts. Turning to the traditional method, remember, we were using all accounts to generate the income at the withdrawal rate. But over here, in the alternative method, instead of pulling income from all the accounts, we're only going to take income from the IRAs only. By taking principal and earnings, this particular person during this phase is going to be able to generate $42,000 a year, which nets out to be $28,000, which is more than the $21,000 that was being generated in the traditional method. While this income is being pulled, the tax-free account and the other assets accounts are left tied to the markets, but not with the possibility of market losses. In phase number 2 of their retirement, the accounts will appear as follows. They will take income, once again, not from both accounts, but in this case, they will take their income from the other assets accounts at the rate of $62,000 a year, which will generate a net spendable income of almost $52,000, which is obviously far more that the traditional method would have produced at $25,000 per year. While this income is being taken from the other assets account, the tax-free account is being left alone to try to produce market rate returns, but not with the possibility of market losses. This will bring this particular person into phase 3, where the accounts will appear as follows. In this particular phase number 3, starting at 78 years old, the person can pull $66,000 tax-free from the tax-free account and adjust that income for inflation for the rest of their life. This is a big difference from the $29,000 a year that the person would have produced using the traditional method of retirement income planning. Knowing that this can be a little confusing, I do want to summarize here as follows. Compared to the traditional method, using the same assets and return assumptions, the alternative method of retirement income planning provides significantly more income with no market risk. It structures retirement into several distinct and very key planned out phases. It usually integrates a tax-free component by way of a Roth or other vehicle. It strives to minimize fees, and it utilizes a combination of banking, brokerage, and insurance industries. So, should I do a Roth conversion? It really depends upon a number of factors. It depends upon how long you need your income, if at all. It depends upon the balance between your IRA accounts and your other assets. It also depends upon whether or not you are making contributions into an account, or other factors that I'm not going to get the time to get into here today. Ultimately, what's going to really help somebody understand whether or not they should do a Roth conversion is to first start with getting an inventory of your assets, and based upon conservative rates of return, where and how much income are you going to get for the rest of your life. This is one particular family in New York that I helped lay out this blueprint for rest of life, and by doing this exercise, we realized that in their particular case, a Roth conversion really didn't make much sense. For others, it might. So, to learn more about developing your own blueprint for your retirement income planning and whether or not you should actually consider converting your IRA into a Roth, I certainly welcome you to call me at the number here, to email me, to visit a website that I created to complement this presentation, or to visit one of my offices in Southern California, Irvine, Los Angeles, or San Diego. If you're located outside of Southern California offices, I have clients and I deal with people all across the country. I hope this helped you. I truly hope that you got some value out of this presentation. Have a great day.